everybody, thank you. Next up, we have our lightning talk from John from GitHub, who's going to talk about AI developments at GitHub, which is where we are. So give Johnny a hand.
Awesome. Thank you. Good to be here, but then I am every day. Okay. Thank you all for coming. Really appreciate it. And thank you all for not only using GitHub, but giving back. Like that whole analysis over the last 30 minutes was amazing, and the kind of research that I don't see that often in the public sphere to a level of detail that I don't see. So this is so cool. What I'm going to try and do is just walk you through some of the cool things I think we're doing right now. Unlike my usual, I'm not going to do any actual live demos this time, just for speed. But I'll be around after. And so if you want to talk to me, you want to ask detailed questions, that sort of thing, I'm more than happy to chat. All right, let's start right in. Hopefully all of you have at some point been exposed to GitHub Copilot. Let me actually just take a quick survey. All right, yes. Anyone who hasn't tried it out yet? All right, your lucky day. Wait 3 slides. Okay, so if you haven't yet, this is, LLM paraprogrammer, right? Write a comment, get a full function prediction that hopefully meets that need, that's taking into consideration everything the LLM happens to quote unquote know, as well as the context it's in, the file you're working on, the other files you have open in the editor, that sort of thing, and mashing up some kind of unique solution for you. Also chat, so that I can do things like highlight large swaths of code and say, build all the unit tests for this, or write me some documentation, or every place that there's a get, give me a post instead. All that kind of good stuff. So if you haven't played with this, you should get a chance to very soon. And I get to say this now, and if you've not been online yet today, you may have missed this, that we're actually releasing a free version. Yay, finally. Okay, cool. It will be, do it. We got to throw the microphones, there's nothing else. Okay, cool, thank you. It is, of course, limited. You basically get 2,000 completions a month, and you get 50 chat messages a month. So it's gonna be pretty good for, your weekend projects, that sort of thing, getting a feel for it, whatever. But, if you're running a full-on development house, you're gonna need to move up to, at least the individual license, if not further. But we really wanted everybody to get a chance to go in, to play with it, to be able to understand what Copilot is, and to then use it for all those hobby projects. Also keep in mind that we do give a lot of freebies and that sort of thing too. If you're maintaining an open source project, if you're part of the educational program, etc. Lots of cases there where we're giving out Copilot free for you as well, unlimited in those cases. So talk to me more about those later. Okie dokie. Some of the stuff that we announced at Universe that you may have missed. Universe was end of October this year. First off, and a lot of these are just finally coming out to the point where you can actually use them, because we gave preview announcements at Universe, but then they're rolling out in rings. So nowadays, just about everybody, I think, is going to have access to GPT-01, of course, Claude, Gemini models available in Copilot chat. So when you're sitting there, you're working in chat, you can just grab the switcher, pick the model you want to be interacting with, and try that out. Over time, we're hoping to get feedback from you all about which ones you like best, if things are better for certain use cases, etc., all that kind of good stuff. All right, custom instructions. This to me is super duper powerful, because one of those problems you encounter when you're working with an LLM is, how do I kind of keep it on track? How do I keep it knowing what I want to do? And for a lot of us, that ends up being, all right, I've got some big text file I keep somewhere, and I just paste it in at the beginning of every chat session. And that's going to remind it, this is the Node version that I prefer. This is the kind of linting I want you to use. This is how I want you to write documentation, to what spec when I do it, etc. So now we're just codifying that. There's a specially named file, .github/custominstructions.markdown. In every repo, you can add that into it. And then that's going to just basically pre-prompt the session, right? So it saves you a little work as an individual, but when you're working in a group, this is super powerful, because it means that you can take those same standards that you're doing for everything else. Not just what dependencies do I want, but yeah, what are our language versions? What's our linting style? What other patterns do we want? How do we write our accessors? Whatever it is that you agree on as a group. And this becomes a living document which actually changes how Copilot will interact with each of your developers. So this is, to me, huge, and of course it is a file, so its code is config, it lives with the repo, it's versioned, it's historied, it's branchable, all of that kind of good stuff that you get with code as config. All right, Copilot edits. This just came out. Some of you have used other tools like Devin, that sort of thing. If you have, one of the things you may have asked is, hey, why can't I do lots of changes around groups of files easily? This used to be a pain. You'd go into each file, you'd highlight the whole thing, you'd tell it to do a thing, you'd repeat it somewhere else. Now you can go in. You can pick sets of files that you want to include in some little micro session. You can say, all right, I want you to do this set of things across these files. It'll give you previews in all of them about what I'm going to change. You muck with it a bit, and when you're like, OK, it's ready to go, and you just, all of those changes occur at once. So super powerful, gets you off the ground quick. Copilot Extensions has been out for a little while in preview, but now it's available for everybody to use. This allows you to connect with all those third-party services. Now, it's growing, right? Some of you may have used GitHub Actions in the past. You'll have seen that marketplace of components grow from a few thousand to tens of thousands. There's 200 and something added every single month inside the GitHub Actions marketplace, and those are all third-party connections, components, et cetera, for CI/CD. Copilot Extensions, kind of a similar concept, that whatever it is you want to connect to, Azure, DataStax, Perplexity AI, some other tool out there that you do your job with and you maybe have an account with and some information with you want to be able to pull, as well as ones you want to get specific advice or features from. You can do things like grab Mermaid AI and bring that in and then have it generate for you right while you're in your chat session a graph of all of the activity that occurs across your particular application, a little flowchart, right? So you can do all that kind of cool stuff. Search for GitHub Marketplace, and then click on the Copilot icon. You'll see everything that we have, and that's going to continue to grow. You call those into your chat session once you've added them, but just typing @ and then whatever the thing you just added. So I'll say something like @mermaid-chart. Give me a flowchart for this application, and get a result. Okie dokie. By the way, I should have mentioned, feel free to take pics, of course, but gh.io/puppy-github-24 is where these slides live, and I'll keep that up on the screen, so if you need to write it down, you can. I will fix that as soon as I get off stage. Thank you very much. All right. Couldn't have you knowing about all the announcements earlier, right? My bad. All right, Copilot code reviews in VS Code. Haven't used this a ton yet myself. New enough that I haven't had a chance to play around with it. But inside the IDE itself, you can go in, you can ask Copilot for a code review, have it step you through, go ahead and respond to those recommendations, right? So a very interactive experience there, different from having to proactively go and say, highlight a file, what's wrong with this? Highlight a file, what's wrong with this, right? All right, let's bring it out of the IDE, and we'll talk about platform for a couple slides, and then I'll get out of here. OK, Copilot chat on github.com. This is available for everybody now. And it's available turnkey. You don't even have to do anything. You can create a brand new GitHub account right now, validate your email, get onto the website, and you're going to see a Copilot icon in the upper right. Tap that, and you'll be chatting with GitHub Copilot right inside your repository. This may seem straightforward and simple, right? We're taking something you do in the IDE anyway right now, and we're putting it on the website. So what? But this is about barriers. It's about friction. This is about, I send my repo link to somebody else, and they want to know about it. They don't have to do anything. They don't have to pull it down. They don't have to fire up a new IDE, anything like that. They just click the Copilot icon, and they start talking with your repository, so they can start understanding it and all of that. They are able to go in and ask questions like, OK, maybe it's someone else on your team who doesn't work with the code, not usually in your IDE, but they need to deploy this. They can go ahead and ask, all right, how would I deploy this using Terraform to AWS, et cetera, et cetera? It's going to give them a response. So this, to me, is super powerful. If you're in an enterprise, you're working in a large enterprise, and you want to know about other features that spawn off of this, things like knowledge bases or fine-tuned models or that kind of stuff, come talk to me after, and I'll walk you through where else this goes in a large company situation, because it's a little different. Copilot Workspace, if you haven't played with it yet, absolutely recommend it. Copilot Workspace basically lets you go from an issue, hey, I made a problem statement in my repo on some issue, and I could go and I could try and solve that myself interactively with Copilot, or I can hit open it in Copilot Workspace. Copilot Workspace is going to open up, and it's going to try to solve that problem for you. First, it's going to discuss it with you. It's going to say, hey, this is what I think the current status is. This is what I think you want me to do. Am I right? You're going to correct it where it's wrong. And then you're going to say, go to town and build a bunch of files. It's going to fix, edit, add files, whatever's needed, give you that list. You can have a little more discussion with it before sending it on to a pull request. This is your way of getting large swaths of code written to fix some problem or add some feature, which you then jump into as a developer and do all the fine tuning and cleaning up and all the things that it gets wrong, because it's not going to get it perfect every single time, right? For very simple stuff, this is magic. If it's just like add a button that does something and fires off an existing function or writes a very simple function, I've had it take less than a minute for me to add a new feature that way. So this is super, super powerful. Copilot Code Review in the pull request. So this is, I've created a pull request, and if I'm in an enterprise setting, I would be inviting in other developers on my team to help give me reviews. Now I can invite Copilot. And Copilot asynchronously is going to review my code and put comments right into the PR itself that I can then go and review, approve, or not. So really great way to decrease the load on my teammates. They don't have to do all those code reviews manually. A lot of it's going to get hit early. And then auto-fix for open source. Just to take this a little bit sideways, code security is one of those things that we often don't think about very heavily as developers. We're aware it's a problem. We might go in. You might even be doing proactive things now where you go in with a Copilot and you grab a few files and you say, hey, are these vulnerable? In what ways? How can I fix it? Keep doing that. But if you're using GitHub Advanced Security, then we now have the ability to not just detect a pattern-based problem, something like SQL injection or a circular loop in your code, that kind of stuff. We can not just detect it, we can now actually generate a PR that fully fixes it. For now, that's limited to JavaScript and TypeScript. We'll be working on more languages, but this is really cool because you get surfaced the fix at the same time that you get surfaced this security problem. And you just click, that looks good, assuming it passes all of your unit tests and all that kind of good stuff. All right, I will leave you with these two things. Once again, the URL is up there because there's far too many links in the next 2 pages, but first thing, if you're using Copilot now and you haven't thought about these adjunct use cases, I really recommend trying them. We get a decent amount of velocity improvement by having it generate new code for us. But frankly, a lot of the early acceleration you will see using an AI Copilot of any kind is going to be in these other sort of tasks and roles that are not primarily just building the new features. There, how do I build my unit tests? How do I generate my documentation, right? How do I security check my code, et cetera? So these are things I recommend trying. Just go in, highlight a whole swath of code, and just say, what does this do? Give me an executive summary and a full feature breakdown. And then just grab what it takes and put that into a README. There's your documentation. It's very cool. Last thing, bunch of resources there. Again, just grab that primary URL. The blog is constantly coming out with stuff, and we've got some nice learning pathways now to kind of walk through how to use Copilot. All right, thanks very much for your time. Enjoy the rest of the evening.